Star Trek. Starfleet Academy's Furies are the creepiest space villains since Firefly's Reavers. Star Trek's The Furies are space pirates, as brutal as Firefly's Reavers. Universal Pictures' Reaver derives from the word reave, meaning to rob or plunder. The Firefly Reavers live up to this description. One of the most chilling lines I've ever heard in a TV show is when Zoe, Gina Torres, explains to Simon, Sean Meher, how the Reavers operate. If the Reavers take the ship, they'll rape us to death, eat our flesh, and sew our skins into their clothing. And if we're very, very lucky, they'll do it in that order. Firefly is largely modeled on the history and historical fiction of the American Civil War and Reconstruction, but with any problematic racial politics written out of the text. It'd be a bit harder to root for Mal Reynolds, Nathan Fillion, if the Browncoats had been fighting to preserve slavery like the Confederates were. Reavers are the equivalent of savage Native Americans in old Western pictures, as Joss Whedon has confirmed. The Reavers live on the frontier of colonized space, where they raid both lone starships and isolated towns on settled planets. Most Reaver victims end up as skeletons decorating their ships, but the Reavers sometimes brainwash their captives to create more Reavers. In keeping with the mystery, no one in Firefly knows where exactly Reavers came from. The common wisdom is that the vastness and emptiness of space drove them mad. The 2005 sequel film Serenity revealed the truth about their origins, but we'll leave that unspoiled. The Reavers reflected the harsh imaginary future of Firefly Universal Pictures. Since Firefly only lasted 14 episodes, it never got the chance to show any Reavers on screen. In the pilot Serenity, our heroes are chased by a Reaver ship and narrowly escape, while in Bushwhacked, they come across the remains of ship attacked by Reavers. A grim, best unmade Firefly episode would have seen Inara, Morena Baccarin, abducted by some Reavers, so the show likely intended to depict them at some point. Serenity was eventually able to depict what Reavers look like, albeit still shown with quick cuts to underline their relentlessness. The Reavers have pierced and carved flesh, sharpened teeth, and wear Mad Max-style clothes. Like the Reavers, the Furies aren't shown on screen in much detail, but their costumes look more like the Cenobites from Hellraiser and the mouth of Sauron from The Lord of the Rings. Star Trek is all about envisioning the best possible future if humanity turns to space traveling. In Firefly, though, humanity hasn't moved past struggles of old, and the Reavers represent the cruel face of all too human violence. It remains to be seen if the Furies will be more than a one-off villain on Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, but Starfleet appears to have finally found an enemy that evokes the same terror as the Reavers did on Firefly. Star Trek, Starfleet Academy is streaming on Paramount+.